Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal, and this is another expedition log. In this episode, we'll be visiting a mall that sits vacant and nearly abandoned. When I filmed this place, the only tenants were a Belk and a barber, who held the keys to the front door and seemingly forgot to lock up when I went that night. This once thriving structure exists only as a shell of its former self, and the barber's now gone, and the front doors are now locked. So come take a walk with me through the Vernon Park Mall in Kinston, North Carolina. But first, a word from our sponsor, Karen the Mall Walker, wielding the symbol of the dead mall community, the pith helmet.
I walk the shopping malls. I get out of the car and I close the door and I do some warm-ups, 1, 2. That gets my heart pumping so that I have enough oxygen that flows up into the brain. I used to walk with the Sierra Club, and the Sierra Club walked in all of the parks around Los Angeles and everything, but they walked in the rain. I read an article about people who are allowed in the shopping malls like at 7 o'clock in the morning before they come to work. And they get in and they walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. And so I joined that. I became a happy walker girl. I even made up a song.
Yes. I am a
You have a lot of lung power.
Calvary and shot and shot and shot.
I would like to show you what I bought today. It's something that I bought just for myself.
It's a pith helmet.
It'll be the symbol of the happy hiking girl. Walking through the mall, shopping through the mall.
The shopping mall.
You can get out there, get on your own, take your own money that you earn each and every day, and go out and shop and get healthy while you're doing it.
In the 1960s, Walter Roy Poole began spreading word that he and his company intended to build a new mall in Lenoir County, North Carolina, in the city of Kinston. They started promoting it, and Bo Mallard drafted plans for a new mall. So they finally went to Jefferson Standard Insurance Company, showed them the plans that Bo drafted, proposed the idea, and they got approved for a loan. They then acquired 35.93 acres of farmland in Lenoir County from two families, the Temples and the Hardys. When they had the land, they began construction immediately on the very first mall in eastern North Carolina in 1967. On June 23, 1967, Mr. Poole and his company began leasing space at the shopping center that they were currently building, and just 1 year later, Mr. Poole opened the Vernon Park Mall on March 12, 1968.
Shop because the stores are larger here and they're more often.
My mother shopped here and I shopped here and bring my dog, and it's really been a tradition in our family. A tradition continues.
This used to be a Stacy's restaurant, and the locals were absolutely in love with this place. I'm not exactly sure when this restaurant came to be. It could have been an original tenant at the mall, but I'm not sure. I couldn't find that. So if you visited this place back in the day, let me know if you were there, how early you were there, because I'd love to find a date on when this was around. And I'd also love to hear any reviews you might have of the food. From what it sounds like, it was fantastic. The Vernon Park Mall initially opened with only 5 stores. JCPenney was the senior anchor. There was a Rose's discount store, Butler shoe store, Little Mint, and the thrift shop. The second senior anchor, a Belk Tyler, would have its own grand opening in May of 1968. When the mall was finally opened with all of its stores, it was one long corridor, shaped like the front end of a car. There was a long one-story corridor, which we're looking at right now, lined with retail shops, and a hybrid two-story area offset in the middle, which is directly to our left right now. The first floor of the hybrid area had retail shops and a K&W cafeteria, and on the second floor were professional offices from businesses in the Kinston area. On either end of the mall were two anchors, Belk Tyler and JCPenney. The Pennies also came equipped with an auto center and an outlying strip mall which included a Winn-Dixie, Eckerd, and a cinema. In 1978, the mall had its first expansion, which is what we're walking through right now. This one-story wing was added to the west side of the mall, which is directly adjacent to the hybrid two-story corridor, which is behind us, and it brought 16 new inline tenants and this incredible corridor awash in mercury vapor. And I'm pretty sure when it was first built, it didn't look like the Matrix. I filmed this place back when I hit 2,000 subscribers, and I filmed my director's update, but I want you to see how the green hue changes on my face as I walk out of this place. It was incredible. I really felt like I was in the Matrix. So that Roses used to be an out parcel. They built this wing around it, and because of that augmentation, they lost the original facade to the Roses, so that they can make more inline tenant space here. Just 3 years after this expansion, Mr. Poole sold the mall on January 1st, 1981 to the Meyerhoff family of Baltimore, Maryland, who were acting behind their holding company, Magna Properties. The Meyerhoffs paid $8 million for the Vernon Park Mall.
Did someone say soup? Soup and a salad, delicious. Soup and a sandwich is great. Soup for lunch is nutritious. Yes, you are my favorite date. Now they're a family.
As I walk through this mall, I want you to try and notice and take count of how many times you see a poster for the now defunct channel WB. There's posters up for Reba and the Bernie Mac show, and I'm pretty sure those were dissolved in the early 2000s. So just keep an eye out for that and let me know how many you count. In February of 1981, the Meyerhoffs gave the mall a slight renovation, completed on February 26, 1981, when a Brodie's was opened in the west wing of the mall, right at the end of this corridor, which we're looking at now. At the time, the Roses was also expanded to 30,000 square feet to a full-line discount center. The lighting in this place was fantastic. Between the mercury vapor and the Roses wing and these little mirror finishes, it's just so cool. Hey Reba. The mall continued to thrive since the day it opened, becoming more successful into the 1980s as the newly added wing, new stores, and mix of junior and senior anchors would bring more traffic and sales per square foot. The Meyerhoff family were armed with an incredibly high property assessment value, well over $10 million, for the recently expanded mall, anchors, outparcels, and the 35 acres of land. So on December 19th, 1986, the Meyerhoffs sold the mall to Vernon Investment Associates, who were a holding company for CL Realty based out of New York. The selling price? Vernon Investment Associates took out a loan from General Electric Credit Corporation for a whopping $18,245,000 and acquired the deeds of the mall just days later. The New York mall owners probably had a good bit of extra cash from the loan after purchasing the property from the Meyerhoffs. And I've seen reports from locals that the mall underwent another renovation in the 1990s, which the locals noted was when the mall lost its original vintage aesthetic. However, just 3 years after purchasing the mall, the New Yorkers had their mall foreclosed by GE on September 21st, 1989. By 1991, a new holding company was formed, VPM Inc., Vernon Park Mall Inc., who bought the mall from GE for $14,850,000. Now, it's possible and even likely that the mall was renovated by the New Yorkers between 1986 and 1989 since they had the cash flow, but I was unable to confirm in any documents or news sources that this renovation actually took place. VPM Inc. could have also renovated the mall in the 90s too, and it's also possible that VPM Inc. continued with the renovations that the New Yorkers started. Either way, I believe the New York owners used their extra cash to at least begin renovations. They went broke doing it. VPM Inc. continued the work that was started, and that it was during this period that a Rex TV and appliance and goodies were added directly under the office space where the K&W cafeteria was. I'll need you guys to fill me in on what you saw in person in the late 80s into the 90s. Were there fountains at this mall ever? Were there planters cemented in the courtyards? Please let me know in the comment section if you had the pleasure of walking through Vernon Park Mall between 1986 and 1999, as I'd love to hear more about this period and what the mall used to look like. This is the area where the K&W cafeteria was, and then the goodies and Rex TV and appliance then went into. And that's also the barbershop that was open when I went, and that guy had a key to the mall, to that front door. In 1998, Alcoa, Tennessee-based Profits bought the Brodie's chain and converted the anchor location. Brodie's was a well-known brand in eastern North Carolina, and it started right in Kinston in 1928. It was tried and true, meat and potatoes, existed as the local high-end shop. But when Profits came to town, the locals didn't trust the brand, and the anchor did little to help the mall remain successful as it navigated through the turn of the millennium. Then in September 1999, the mall was foreclosed on again, and GE took back ownership of the property for a second time. This entire office space up here was incredibly creepy, and nothing was open. There were no businesses that were operating out of here, except for the mall offices, which were dark. This is where doctors used to be, dentists, lawyers, a whole bunch of local businesses in the community would operate out of this space. In its heyday, Vernon Park Mall really had a diverse set of tenants. It was incredibly ahead of its time for the leasing structure that the management used to fill the storefronts and office spaces here, and I think it was actually pretty smart. We're going up the stairs right now to the other side of the office spaces. It gets pretty creepy up here, especially because I was there after 8 o'clock and I was just expecting someone to pop around the corner. Probably sensing that this property was a little too risky to hold on to, GE unloaded the deed to a smaller bank at a huge loss. The mall would change hands between lesser banks for a few years, and finally on October 1st, 2002, Smith Investment Properties, LLC purchased the mall from First South Bank for $3.9 million, which is an incredibly far cry from 1986, when the Meyerhoffs sold the mall for over $18 million. And by 2003, Rose's was shuttered in the Mercury Vapor Matrix wing, and 1 year later in 2004, a Sears Hometown would open in its place. In 2006, Belk acquired Profits. The former Profits anchor space would be briefly occupied in the next few years by a tenant called Expressions. The only other locations called Expressions that I found in North Carolina were discount clothing lines and various other businesses, so I have no idea what that place was. So if any of you have been to this place, let me know in the comments what it was. In 2008, Vernon Park Mall Holdings Corporation purchased the mall for an undisclosed amount. This holding company was associated with 20 different companies in 12 cities, comprised of 20 individuals, all of whom had the name Alex Dimitriades, with their CEO named Alex Dimitriades. In 2008, the mall property was appraised at $7,530,000, but if I had to guess, Alex Dimitriades paid far less than that for the mall. As the mall celebrated its 40th year open to the public in 2009, more stores would leave, and the retail respite would grow more pale and dim in the eyes of local shoppers. By 2014, after 47 years as a senior anchor, the JCPenney would shutter permanently, and only 1 year later, the Sears Hometown left the former Rose's space in late 2015. It's unknown exactly when Expressions shuttered, but by 2016, Belk was the only anchor space left in the mall. To add to the mass exodus, all of the mall office space was empty in the second floor, with the exception of the rarely used and dimly lit mall offices. A renovation was proposed in 2017 to convert the mall into a more experience-centric outlet, with restaurants, a brewery, lodging, and tons of activities for anyone visiting, and even a trampoline park. But nothing came of that plan, mostly due to Belk hiding in their bunker, shutting down any plans for the renovation. But once Belk leaves, we might see action taken to commence this redevelopment. And just months after that announcement, the owners put the mall up for sale on loopnet.com for $7.5 million. However, the listing was taken down, with no sale activity recorded. Back in March of 2018, the mall celebrated its 50th anniversary. Imagine, if you will, an elderly person just sitting in a dimly lit room, trying to fight through their ailment, humming the happy birthday tune to themselves, struggling to blow out the one candle on the store-bought cupcake they lit. That's how I imagine Vernon Park Mall celebrating their 50th birthday. There was no fanfare around the mall's half-centennial, and I really can't see it reaching 60. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and I'd like to extend a special thank you to all of my patrons and to all of the Dead Malls of Discord family and the entire legion of explorers who have subscribed to this channel over the last few years. So thank you all so much. There's a ton more content coming with some really exciting stuff that I can't wait to show you. We're almost at 27,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate all of the engagement that you guys have shown me on this channel. And I'd be indebted to all of you if you could just share this video in your social media and spread the love. And also make sure that you hit me up on my social media at Salvatore Amadeo on Twitter and Instagram. Also, make sure you join the Discord server and subscribe to my second YouTube channel, Quite Studios. Links for both are in the description below. Thanks again, guys. Take care, everybody, and have a fantastic day.
We've always shopped here at Vernon Park Mall. With the changes, it's even better.
I've been shopping at Vernon Park Mall about 15 years now, and the way that they've made the changes in the stores, we're really excited about them.
We drive here from Newbern to shop because the stores are larger here and there are more of them.
My mother shopped here, and I shopped here and bring my daughter, and it's really been a tradition in our family.
The tradition continues.